Hello there guys, welcome to one of my videos. On this video I am going to be giving you my reaction to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's press conference ahead of our game against West Ham tomorrow evening 6 o'clock kickoff at Old Trafford. I've already given you my preview for the game. So the first thing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was asked in the press conference was about David Moyes. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has said that David Moyes has done a fantastic job with West Ham. He says West Ham have done very, very well recently. You know, they've had good results against Norwich, Chelsea and Watford. So Solskjaer is aware of West Ham's threat. And like I said on my preview, David Moyes is going to be reuniting with Manchester United. Don't forget David Moyes is a former Manchester United manager. Like I said, he endured, was it around 8 or 9 months with the football club. But we actually, should have never recommended him in. This is now David Moyes' second spell with West Ham. Obviously, he's managed other clubs. He managed Real Sociedad, he managed Sunderland. Like I said, he managed us. And he also managed Everton. And he was a long-serving manager for Everton. He endured around 11 years with them. But I think, the only club he did well at was Everton, David Moyes. David Moyes also has said that he got treated differently at Manchester United, and he says the difference between him and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been given time at the football club. So yeah, Solskjaer, said this, regarding David Moyes. He's also provided us with some news on Eric Bailly. He has confirmed that Eric Bailly will not be playing tomorrow against West Ham. He says that he has remained in London for all the checks because he recently got discharged from hospital, did Eric Bailly. Eric Bailly sustained a head injury in our 3-1 defeat to Chelsea in the FA Cup semi-final. He collided heads with Zuma, and then moments later he collided heads with Harry Maguire. At the first we thought it was very severe, but it turns out now it's not that severe, so that is positive news. But I think apart from Eric Bailly, everyone else is available. Luke Shaw could also be starting tomorrow against West Ham because he has missed our last 2 games with an ankle injury. And Luke Shaw, of course, is our first choice left back. Also too, David De Gea was mentioned during the press conference. And Solskjaer said that David De Gea is mentally strong enough. To cope with his dramatic loss of form, because David De Gea, has been very, very poor in the last couple of years, reflecting on the calamitous mistakes he has made. He made 2 calamitous mistakes in our 3-1 loss to Chelsea in the FA Cup semi-final because he should have kept Olivier Giroud's shot out. He also should have kept Mason Mount shot out, should David De Gea. Now, there has been reports coming out from the mainstream media saying that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer could drop David De Gea for our 2 remaining league games and he could play Sergio Romero instead. I think a lot of Manchester United fans now want Sergio Romero to start. They also want Sergio Romero to start in the Europa League games in August. But, Solskjaer did make an admission saying that David De Gea's position at the football club is under threat. And, Solskjaer has warned David De Gea that he has got to raise his game. Solskjaer was talking a lot about David De Gea the other week, saying that he has been the best goalkeeper in the world for the last, 9 or 10 years or so. And like I said to you before, David De Gea has had 7 good years out of the 9 years he's been with us. Because David De Gea has won everything domestically at the football club. He's won individual awards, reflects on his good run of performances over the years. And he's made 402 appearances for Manchester United in all competitions. He's already overtaken Peter Schmeichel on appearances. But a lot of Manchester United fans now want David De Gea sold. I said, when David De Gea does leave Manchester United, he will go back to Spain. The main explanations is because he was born in Spain, relatives from Spain, began his footballing career in Spain, and back in 2015 he was close to joining Real Madrid, but due to a fax machine the deal never materialised. David De Gea is on £375,000 a week at Manchester United. He's on around 375 grand a week, yeah, so he's the highest paid goalkeeper in the world, and he's the highest paid at the football club. He's David De Gea in that, but he has received a hell of a lot of criticism, but we paid just over £18 million for him from Atletico Madrid back in 2011. If we was to sell him now, we'd get a lot more than the £18 million that we paid for him from Atletico Madrid. Obviously, there's been stories coming out regarding Dean Henderson. I was reading Run Report and it says we're set to hold negotiations with Dean Henderson. I think is it sometime this week or next week. Because obviously, Dean Henderson's out on loan with Sheffield United at the moment. This has been his second season on loan with Sheffield United. And I've got to say, since his arrival at Sheffield United, he's been, a revelation, and he's been their player of the season. There's still stories coming out saying that Chelsea are interested in Dean Henderson. Like I said, Dean Henderson's still got a contract with us until 2022. I think he did say a while back, at the start of the resumption of the season, Dean Henderson will only sign a new contract at Man United if he's assured to be our number one for next season. But the other loan spells he's had is Stockport, Grimsby and Shrewsbury. He actually began his career with Carlisle, and we got Dean Henderson at just the age of 14. But I think possibly next season he will be our number one, will Dean Henderson, because Sergio Romero's not yet reliable enough to become our number one. So there you go. Also, too, during the press conference, Solsjaker was asked about the importance of Champions League qualification, for the players, attracting players, and the financial structure. And Solskjaer is focusing now on our two remaining games. He says, we need to win our two remaining games. Obviously, to be safe, but in reality, we can afford to lose or draw one and still win one and still finish in that top four, because Leicester recently lost against Tottenham by 3-0. Solskjaer was asked about, how are Man United going to respond from the 3-1 defeat to Chelsea. How is, we're going to rectify it in that. And Solskjaer said he was disappointed, he was disappointed with the 3-1 loss to Chelsea. Very, very disappointed. Because obviously, it was a big game. And he was also disappointed because we didn't progress to the final. And obviously, now we cannot win the FA Cup. But I did say, the FA Cup was a priority for us. But we've now got two priorities, and that's the top four and the Europa League. The Europa League is the only chance we've got of winning any silverware under Solskjaer this season. But if we win the Europa League anyway, we'll get automatic qualification for the Champions League if we win the Europa League. So that's obviously very, very good. And I think we are emerged as one of the favourites to win the Europa League. But like I said on my preview yesterday, Solskjaer will make changes in this game against West Ham from the 3-1 loss to Chelsea. In the game against Chelsea, Solskjaer had made 5 changes from the 2-0 win against Crystal Palace. And I went through with you the mistakes that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer made in our 3-1 loss to Chelsea. He made a mistake by not starting Romero. He made a mistake by not starting Pogba and McTominay. He also made a mistake by not starting Anthony Martial. He also made a mistake by not starting Mason Greenwood and all of that. But I think tomorrow Solskjaer will start Pogba. I think he'll also start McTominay. McTominay hasn't had a lot of starts since the resumption of the season because Matic has been getting there ahead of him. Martial will start this game against West Ham. I think Mason Greenwood will start this game against West Ham. Probably David De Gea will remain in goal. There's a chance that actually Romero could start. Hopefully Luke Shaw's going to be available to play. If he isn't available, then I think we'll play Brandon Williams at left back. Brandon Williams was very, very poor against Chelsea. He was accountable for Mason Mount's goal. Well, yes, he was. But I still think Brandon Williams has enjoyed a fantastic season. I don't think Tuanzebe and Phil Jones are available. We're going to stick with Lindelof, obviously, alongside Maguire because Bay's not available. I think we'll stick with Wan-Bissaka at right back. Bruno Fernandes, he'll keep his place in the team because Bruno Fernandes has enjoyed a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. In the last few games, though, has lacked that composure a bit as Bruno Fernandes, and that's unusual of him. He still did get the goal against Chelsea from the penalty spot, so that's now 9 goals for Bruno Fernandes since his arrival from Sporting Lisbon in January. Obviously, Bruno Fernandes became the first Manchester United player to win back-to-back Player of the Month since Cristiano Ronaldo. But he's definitely made the difference in the team as Bruno Fernandes. James will be dropped, I think. I think James has been inconsistent since the turn of the year. There's been rumours coming out saying that we could loan Daniel James out for next season. We could loan Daniel James out for next season, all of that. So Solskjaer is definitely going to make changes. We know now that our 19-game unbeaten run has come to a conclusion. First defeat in 19. But we still remain unbeaten in our last 12 Premier League games. Our last defeat in the Premier League was Burnley back in January. We did lose by 2-0, if you do remember rightly, and all of that. But like I said, West Ham won't be an easy game. West Ham, I think, are more or less safe now. West Ham are sitting 15th in the Premier League. They're sitting 15th in the Premier League, and they've got some good players of West Ham. They've got Lanzini. They've got Sebastian Hall, who's done well for them since they got him from Frankfurt. They've got, Jared Bowen. They've got Felipe Anderson. They've got Jack Wilshere. So West Ham have got some really, really good players. Declan Rice, I highly rate him. Very, very good at breaking up the play. I think West Ham have only got 2 injuries, and that's Ryan Fredericks and Robert Snodgrass. We have got a pretty decent record against West Ham. We are unbeaten in our last 11 Premier League home games against them. The last time we lost to West Ham at Old Trafford was back in 2007. The last time we lost to them. West Ham, did the double over us back in 2007. So they're looking to do their first double over us for the first time since then. We have won 28 of our 47 Premier League meetings with West Ham, I want to confirm. But we'll win this game, we will go into the top 4 if we do win this game against West Ham. Like I said, the reverse fixture against West Ham, we lost by 2-0. We also lost at the London Stadium last season by 3-1. But Solskjaer will want to get one over David Moyes. He really, really will in that. Like I said, this Solskjaer's got big tests at Manchester United, and I think one of the big tests for him is the summer transfer window, because it's going to be interesting to see who Ole Gunnar Solskjaer recommends into the football club in the summer transfer window. I think the biggest test for Solskjaer as well is next season, because Solskjaer knows next season he'll have bigger expectations to exceed. I think our expectations next season will be to challenge for the Premier League title, because, we've got to spend money to compete with the likes of Manchester City and Liverpool, and we haven't won the Premier League since 2013. So the last time we won it was in Alex Ferguson's last season. So this has been the 7th season now we have failed to mount any kind of title challenge up. Like I said, I'm hopeful that we can get our 21st title under Solskjaer, but it's going to take a long rebuilding process. Solskjaer did say he's looking to make around 3 signings in the summer transfer window. And, he's already told Ed Woodward, the areas where he wants to strengthen up. And Solskjaer said he wants to recommend a striker in, a right winger, and he also wants to recommend a centre-half in, even though we've got 7 centre-halves in the team. And he also wants to recommend a box-to-box, a centre defensive midfielder in, because these still areas where Manchester United are lacking. There really, really is. But one thing Solskjaer did confirm is that he will not tolerate any rotten apples in the squad. He won't do this and that. But there has been a lot of players on our agenda. There is a lot of uncertainty regarding the summer transfer window because of the financial impact of the coronavirus pandemic. We know one thing, that the summer transfer window is going to be opening on the 27th of July. So that's very, very good news. We don't only need to focus on the incomings in the summer transfer window. We've also got to focus on the outgoings, because Solskjaer's planning to get rid of more of the deadwood in the summer transfer window. I was reading reports the other day and it says we've put like 6 players up for sale. And them players are Lingard, Sanchez, Smalling, Rojo, Jones and Diego Dalot. But to be fair to Solskjaer, he has got rid of a lot of the deadwood since he got recommended into the football club. It did say before the resumption of the season, we had taken around a £140 million loan. But it'd be interesting to see who he recommends in the summer transfer window. You know, Solskjaer's brought 5 good players into the football club so far and spent just over £200 million on them. And, you know, I think we've recently announced the signing the 3 academy players as well, because we have got a lot of young players coming through. I do believe that Solskjaer has promoted the youth fantastically well this season. You know, but more or less everybody's being given their chances, because when Solskjaer did get appointed in as Manchester United manager, he said everybody would get their chances to express themselves, including, you know, the young players and that. You know, including the young players. So that's obviously, you know, a positive. That's obviously, you know, a positive in all of that. You know, Solskjaer has now been at Manchester United for 18 months. So he has been at the football club a year and a half. But let's put into the equation, you know, Solskjaer is inheriting players from the Jose Mourinho era. There's still some players from the Van Gaal era he's inheriting. Matter from the David Moyes era. And there's still a few players from the Ferguson era. But the vast majority of this team is Jose Mourinho's and that. And Solskjaer, I know, does deserve at least another season at Manchester United, because it is a transition period and it has been a transition period for a while. Don't forget, earlier on in the season, we'd enjoyed our worst start to a Premier League season for 30 years. And at that point, you know, Solskjaer was under serious pressure. Reflect on the 3-1 loss to Chelsea, won't be under pressure, you know, because that's just one loss. And I thought we'd have beaten Chelsea because, like I've said before, our record against the top 6 sides this season's been very, very good. You know, we've taken like 18 points against the top 6 sides this season. Like I said, we're still facing a dilemma regarding the contracts, because we have got around 8 players' contracts that do expire next year, and Solskjaer's got to make a decision on these 8 players. You know, so let's just put that into the equation. But like I said, in the last 7 years, Manchester United have been playing catch-up. You know, we've had different managers with different philosophies. You know, we sacked Moyes, we sacked Van Gaal, and we sacked Jose Mourinho. So Solskjaer's the 4th permanent manager since the Ferguson era. We spent a hell of a lot of money. You know, we spent close to the £1 billion range on players, and people say, reflect on the money we've spent, we should be much more of a commanding position. You know, and we've recruited a hell of a lot of players in the last 7 years. But there hasn't only been problems with the management at the club. You know, there's been obviously, you know, problems with the club's board, been problems with Ed Woodward. There's been a lot of problems with the club's ownership, the Glazers. I think we've made a lot of mistakes in the last 7 years, and that's one of the main explanations why we have been so inconsistent in that. But I've got to say, you know, there's still things that we need to work on under Solskjaer. I think we need to be more, our football needs to be more expansive. We need to create a bit more. Our forwards need to be more clinical, but our attacking line looks very, very good. I also think that we need to be quicker on the ball. We need to be quicker on the flanks. You know, so there's still a lot of things that need to be improved on. But I thought Solskjaer's decision making really, I think it's really improved. Just got it wrong against Chelsea. Against Chelsea, you know, he was very tactically naive. But earlier on in the season, you know, Solskjaer, you know, was very tactically naive. So let's just put that into the equation. But there's still improvements that I've seen under him. Like I said, recruitment's improved. Players have improved in general. You know, the results have also improved, which is obviously, you know, very, very good. I think Solskjaer's got, is it just under 2 years left on his Man United contract, because when he got the job in March permanent last year, he signed a 3-year contract at the football club. And another good thing, you know, Solskjaer has gained managerial experience, reflecting on how long he's been at Manchester United. You know, Man United is the 3rd club in his managerial career. But yeah, so hopefully, you know, we can bounce back from the defeat to Chelsea. Very, very hopeful that we can. And hopefully, you know, we can beat Leicester on the final day of the season. You know, hopefully we can do this and that. There's been a lot of young players on our agenda. You know, there's already 2 young players that have turned down moves to Man United, and that was Jude Bellingham and Erling Haaland. you know, so they've turned down moves to Manchester United. Yeah, so that's really everything to update you today. On my next video, I'm going to give you my starting 11 prediction. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel if you do consider subscribers. Always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.